Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to a brand new Let's Play. This time, just like I promised, we're doing Breath of Fire 4. Now, I realize that Breath of Fire 4 may not be your most favorite game in the world, but you know what? You might not be my most favorite viewer, so you know what? Suck it up, sit down, and enjoy. Anyway, Breath of Fire 4 is an RPG released in the year 2000 by Capcom, of course. As you can see down there, Capcom Co. Ltd. 2000. It was released in, I think, Japan and America in 2000, and it was released in 2001 in Europe, and then it was re-released in Japan and Europe, not the United States, in 2003 for the PC. And so it got a PC port. If, you lived in either Japan or Europe. And I do think that it only got a limited release in Europe as a PC port. Now, for many, this is actually... I don't know how to... I can't speak for everyone else, but when I first played this game, I was incredibly disappointed in it. I don't know why. I can't really nail it down to a specific reason why I was so, I guess the word is bored with this game the first time I played it. I mean, it had been a couple of years since I played Breath of Fire 3. So, I mean, it's not like I had just beaten Breath of Fire 3 and then went straight into Breath of Fire 4. It's nothing like that. I do think there was a little bit of culture shock coming into this game for me, which might have had something to do with it. This game is decidedly more Eastern than the previous games, even though the previous games are all JRPGs. They, have Western influences, and you have Western dragons, the classic lizard dragon. You have Western weapons, spears. Well, I guess you can't really classify, but anyway, more Western styled weapons like Ryu's swords in the previous games. He's never really used a katana. Well, in this game, he does use a katana. Things like that. There's a lot of Eastern philosophy in the game. There's a lot of, Eastern living. You get to see, there's one village in the game that is all rice paddies and things like that. The game has a lot of gratuitous, I think it's Korean, for the names of the dragons and things like that. And another thing that threw me off is the fact that, the dragon designs, okay, you go through the first 3 games, and all the dragon designs are mostly, granted there are, some, weird ones like the pygmy or the behemoth dragon, but they look vaguely lizard-like, okay? Well, you get in this game, and they're not Western dragons at all. The dragons in this game, let's just say they look a little weird. There are a few that look, okay, I can see where that would be a dragon. But for the most part, they look rather weird. So, you know what? Let's just go right into the game. Now, I'm not saying that the game's bad or anything. In fact, I very much like it. I just, for some reason, I had a hard time getting into it the first time I played it. Another thing about this game is it is incredibly easy. Of course, Breath of Fire 3 was not exactly difficult. One of the interesting things about this game is that it's narrated by Nina. You get this... Nina she pretty much tells the story of the game. And every time a new chapter unfolds, it's Nina narrating it. Even though you do, for the most part, you control Ryu. So anyway, we start the story without Ryu, following Nina and her friend on a quest to locate Nina's older sister Alina. As you can see right there, you probably notice that the game is a lot, not necessarily as bright as the previous Breath of Fire games. I mean, this game has a lot more pastel in it, whereas Breath of Fire 3, for example, had a lot more bright colors. Now, there is an actual officially licensed manga for this game. It's not called Breath of Fire 4. It's called it's how you ever say the unfading. It's however you say the unfading ones in Japanese. It's Otsuru or something like that. And Breath of Fire 4 is its subtitle. Now, in the original Japanese release, that's reversed. This game is Breath of Fire 4, and then the subtitle is the unfading ones in Japanese. So if you do look up the manga for this game, I actually highly recommend you read it. Now, play the game first, because it's going to spoil a lot of things. But it's a pretty good read. It condenses some things and expands on others. And of course, Ryu speaks, because he has to, because it's not a video game. You can't get by with the whole silent protagonist thing in a work of literature. I've always wondered if they named Cray with the intention of giving him a name that rhymes with Ray from the previous game, but I don't know. It's kind of funny because you cannot literally at any point in the cosmos get any further from Ray, or in fact, that matter, Cat. In fact, the whole stereotype they have in the series of Warren... Whoa, what is that? With Cray. Oh, it's a dragon. Yes, this is what I mean by the dragons being rather weird looking. This is the Sand Dragon. All the dragons in this game look equally weird. You know what the Sand Dragon actually reminds me of? Have you ever seen James and the Giant Peach? You know that shark that tries to eat the peach? That's what the Sand Dragon reminds me of. And there we go. Not 5 minutes into the game and we have already had a major disaster. Oh well. In case you haven't been paying attention, Nina and Cray are on their way to the town of Sinesta to look for Nina's elder sister Alina, who was last seen in that vicinity. She has gone missing. And they were just hit by a dragon thing that looks like a shark from James and the Giant Peach. And now their Sand Flyer is broken. No, that's a very good point there, Cray. Well, I don't know. Do forgive me if I don't speak as much. I am out of LP practice, man. Alright, Sarai, to the south. We can do that! Here, take this sword that you don't know how to use, can't use, and is actually very, very important that we will find out later. Because nothing can bad happen. I'll get into that later. That's a rant for another day. But anyway, now we have control of Nina. One thing that this game, if you just come off for Breath of Fire 3 playing this game kind of uses a grid system to move, kind of like, well, pretty much any old school JRPG where you hit a button and you move one tile to the side. The only thing is you can move diagonally tiles. This actually, moving diagonally actually has this weird effect of making you appear to run faster. See? I don't know if you can quite see it. Because they don't, I don't know if you just appear to run faster or you actually do run faster, but it's got something to do with the sprite gate and all that or something. I read that somewhere a long time ago. Anyway, square opens your menu. We'll get into that in a second. Triangle is your field action. Nina's field action is to fly up in the sky and give you a bird's eye view. Hit O to cancel that. O does nothing unless you're, in a conversation. X is interact. L and R, rotate your camera. And R2 and L2, switch your characters when you have more than one in your party. I'm pretty sure I don't need to tell you what the D-pad does. Do I? Do I need to tell you what the D-pad does? Obviously, not square. Start pauses the game. Select does nothing. That's the basic controls. Now here is the world map. One almost universal complaint on this game is the world map in this game. I agree. I loved the world map in Breath of Fire 3. I love the fact that you didn't have to do random encounters on it, but at the same time, it had a lot of life in it. You could see the little towns, you could see the little houses. There was places to go, things to discover, lots of exploration. This game, you get, well, a map. So, yeah. Ooh. It's kind of irritating, but whatever. It's not something that's a great big deal breaker. Now, let's talk a little bit about the menu screen. If you played Breath of Fire 3, the item menu in this game works identically. The special menu in this game works identically. Back from Breath of Fire 3 is the skill scroll, the ability to learn enemy skills by watching them. Don't remember how many skills are in this game, if it's less or more, but yeah, it's a feature that's back, and it's a really, really important feature in this game. Do forgive me, my recording software is freaking out for some reason, so let's see, equipment. One new thing to point out about equipment in this game is the fact that you actually have lost equipment slots from Breath of Fire 3. In Breath of Fire 3, you could equip a shield, a helmet, in addition to armor, and then I think 2 accessories. Well, in this game, you have a weapon, you have your chestware, and you have 1 accessory slot. And the accessory slot includes helmets, shields, and regular accessories. So you basically have to pick. Do you want the increased defense of equipping a helmet or a shield, or do you want the extra benefit of an accessory? Early game, I find that the increased defense helps. Late game, accessories wins hands down. Status menu. Let's talk a little bit about the stats in this game. HP does what you think. You may notice that actually Nina has 301 HP, which in Breath of Fire 3 would be a ridiculous amount of HP. However, in this game, they basically added a 0 to the HP. So this game works on thousands of HPs instead of hundreds. It's fundamentally not a real big change. Literally all they did was add a 0 on the amount of damage you do and take, and it's functionally the same. AP is your MP. CP is a new stat that we won't be able to really take advantage of for a little while. Basically, in this game, when you're in combat, your whole party fights together. You can have up to 6 people in your party. There's a front row and a back row. You have the front row. The front 3 are the 3 that do the fighting. The back row, they sit back and they rest. Well, your CP stands for concentration points. It's a special kind of AP that is restored in battle while you're in the back row. So every turn you're in the back row, you would gain, in Nina's case, she would gain, let's say she had 0 AP when I put her in the back row. Well, every turn she was in the back row, she would gain 3 CP, which is a special kind of AP. It does not carry over after a battle. So you got to watch out for that. So you still have to be mindful of how much AP you're using. It's just that in really long boss battles, you can use up your AP, switch to the back row, get some of it back, and then keep on attacking. Power does what you think. Defense does what you think. Agility does what you think, with one special mention. Agility works a little different in this game than it did in Breath of Fire 3. There are no EX terms in this game. And that took me a little while to figure out the first time I played the game, and I was sorely disappointed when I found out there was no EX terms. But agility still is very, very important due to the fact of the way combat works, which I'll have to demonstrate once we actually get somebody. Just the gist of it is basically, think of the chain formation from Breath of Fire 3. Okay, you have 3 people in your party. Each of them have 5, 10, and 15 agility. Okay, now if you have them in that order, okay, you have 3 people, each with 5, 1 with 5, 1 with 10, 1 with 15 agility. Your enemy has 7 agility. Okay, now your whole party's agility is set to the leader's agility. So if I put them up to the maximum of their agility, so if I put the person with 15 agility first, she would have 15 agility, the next person would have 10 agility, the enemy would go because they have 7 agility, and then the slowest person would go because they have 5 agility. If you put the slowest person up front, then everyone in your party will have a maximum of 5 agility for determining their turn order, that is. Basically, it's a tool to allow you to manipulate your character's turn order to get combos in. And we'll go over more on combos when I actually get some skills to do combos. Wisdom is your attack power with spells, and I think it might have something to do with defense against spells, but I'm not entirely sure. So, yeah. So anyway, see the little Nina figure we have on the world map here? Well, get your fill of that, because we're about to never ever see it again.